Welcome to Wake Up and Live with the Arts, the show that showcases and celebrates the diversity of the performing arts and artists in Northeast Ohio.
And welcome to Wake Up and Live with the Arts. We are absolutely thrilled to have two very special guests who are involved in a very special organization here in Cleveland, the Rainey Institute. And to my left here is Lee Lazar, the director of the Institute, and also Brittany Kubiak, who is the director of a program that's getting ready to perform some concerts that we want to make sure that everyone knows about. So welcome to the program.
And we want to add, before we forget, I'm Sue Johnson, one of your co-hosts with James. We want to add that we are so excited that the Rainey Institute has agreed to be our host and sponsor for this year's Wake Up and Live with the Arts. They have graciously let us come in and use their stage, their lighting, and with the help of their staff, we're on a brand new, exciting Wake Up and Live with the Arts show.
And what a beautiful facility here. This auditorium, it seats, what, 180 people?
180 people.
Okay, and 23,000 square feet of
23,000 square feet of space.
Well, and this began a lot smaller than this, but it's been in this location since 1904, is that correct?
Well, we've been on East 55th Street since we began in 1904. Mm-hmm. Our original facility was in East 55th and Superior.
All right.
We were in that facility for 107 years, from 1904 until 2011. Mm-hmm. And in January 2011, we moved 4 blocks down the street into our brand new state-of-the-art community arts center.
Now, for a little perspective on the organization, just a little touch of history. It was founded by Eleanor Rainey, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the mission was a little bit different back then, up until the 1960s. Can you give a little bit of a history of the place?
Sure, James. Eleanor Rainey created the organization in 1904 as a private charity. Our original mission was to help new Americans who settled in the Huff and St. Clair Superior neighborhoods. And back in the early 1900s, those were primarily folks from Eastern and Western Europe. So we help immigrants become Americans, and by the time we get to the 60s, neighborhoods had changed and the needs of the neighborhoods had changed, and that's when we recognized that the organization needed to change. Yes. So we went through a strategic planning sort of process and changed our mission to become a community arts center for kids. So we've been doing arts for kids since 1966.
Excellent. And in fact, you're involved, Brittany, in a very specific program, El Sistema.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about the El Sistema program?
Sure. Well, our El Sistema program here is an orchestra program, string orchestra. So our students learn violin, viola, cello, and bass. And they come every day after school, Monday through Friday. And they're part of the Rainey programming. So they join the other kids that come for dance, drama, visual arts to have a snack and homework help. And then we have an hour and a half of orchestra instruction every day.
Well, and the beauty of it, of course, is that these days with budget cuts, funding for the arts is decreasing on a regular basis. And there was a New York Times article recently. In fact, you can see it on the Rainey Institute website, which we'll put up on the screen later. But it was written, I believe, by Condoleezza Rice. And she was talking about how important music is. In fact, asked the question, is music the key to success? What would your answer to that question be?
Well, I would absolutely say that music is essential to success for several reasons. I mean, obviously, there's been research on it with regard to the brain and how it affects just processing and functioning and performing well and doing complex tasks. But also socially. Learning to play music together is really good for kids. Teamwork and coming together with a common goal is a great thing to start doing at a young age, which is what orchestra is all about.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to just jump in because we didn't give your last name yet, Brittany. It's Kubiak. And it's my understanding about music that music is the language of the universe. Music transcends all divisiveness, cultures, socioeconomic classes, that when you have music, it is the universal healing kind of thing. So how did you get involved with El Sistema?
Well, the woman who founded our El Sistema program here is Isabel Troutwine, who plays with the Cleveland Orchestra. I kind of knew her and knew that she had interests in working with kids. I was working at an elementary school before I was here. So that's kind of when she started the program here, I kind of already knew her, and she invited me to interview for the position here. So that's kind of how I got connected with Rainey Institute in the first place.
And how long have you been associated with the Institute?
Right, this is the start of my 3rd year here.
All right, and what age children do you generally work with?
We have right now 1st through 7th graders in the orchestra.
Okay. Now, that's one of the many programs that you're involved with at the Institute. You also teach things like dance, there's ballet. You have even a very special person who's come over from Taiwan, which I believe that subject will come up later. But how many different programs are you involved with here? What's the range of artistic focus here at the Institute?
We do programs in music, dance, drama, and even sewing here. We provide programs for children as young as 1-year-olds up to 21-year-olds. During the school year, we have an after-school program in which we have 110 kids, part of our after-school program. We provide group classes for kids on Saturdays. We provide private music and voice lessons to about 100 children. We have neighborhood preschools that bring kids to us during the week, during the morning. We have performing groups, teen groups. We have some kids who come to Rainey 6 days a week. We have some kids who may come to Rainey for just 30 minutes a week for a piano lesson. So we want to connect kids to the arts however we can connect them.
And speaking of connecting kids with the arts, you have a new person on staff, Jimmy Woody, who is working with the drama class this year. And we are thrilled because we at the Wake Up and Lives Actors Studio are scheduled to do some special workshops working with Jimmy and his drama program. And if all goes well, we'll be doing a special class on teaching the teens how to audition on camera as part of their overall training as to how to be performing artists.
And that's a collaboration that we're very excited about, Sue. One of the things that we realize as a small nonprofit organization, for us to provide more to more kids, we need to connect to partners that can help us serve our kids. So we're very appreciative of the collaboration that we have with you and the ways in which that collaboration will help children here at Rainey Institute.
Right, and we are really honored to be part of the overall program and the drama aspect. And so we will be talking to Jimmy at a later date so that we can get his perspective on all the new things that he plans to do with his drama program. And we have been here before and we have seen the broad range of super fantastic programming. And I personally, as Sue Johnson, am always blown away. That sounds very professional. Blown away. Little teeny tiny kids are performing and rehearsing, and it's like they're with the Cleveland Orchestra or some special ballet dance company.
And someday they may be.
Yeah, because they're on their way. So, I mean, the things that youth can do is so uplifting. And what you're doing here at Rainey to bring out the young talent, the artistry, the skills, the love, because these kids learn discipline and they're here like they're supposed to be here for rehearsals and performances. So if only, watch out now, I'm not going to get in trouble, but if the regular school systems could be as successful as you are at Rainey with training and teaching and creating love of the arts, the world would be a much better place.
Well, and it's also very important with, in line with that, is once they learn all of these wonderful skills, putting them into practice.
Right.
So performance and getting in front of people. And I understand we have a little bit of that coming up. Brittany, perhaps you can talk about what's coming up with the El Sistema program.
Our students actually give concerts on a pretty regular basis, so they get used to performing. We give a family concert every other Friday, so we'll have one coming up in about a week. And that gives the students a regular chance to practice concert behavior. For some of the little kids that come and it's their first time doing something like this, sitting through an entire concert and focusing and being on stage for that length of time can be very challenging. So we like to give them lots of opportunities to practice before we go and have really big professional concerts. For example, we'll be playing at Severance Hall for Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
That'll be in January.
In January, yes. Right on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So.
Okay.
Let's make that this really, really clear. That's Severance Hall, where the Cleveland Symphony Orchestra performs. Imagine what those kids are going to feel like, and I think it's so important also that the community comes out to support those kids who, are going to have an experience that they'll remember for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know what they must feel. I can remember I used to sing with the Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Choir, and to be on the same stage with the Cleveland Orchestra. Oh my heavens, that's indescribable, that experience. So Lee, in terms of all these special events coming up, while we're at it, why don't you give the contact information as to how people can find out about performances? And if you've got El Sistema coming up next week, that sounds like it's about October 25th, 26th.
Next Friday.
Next Friday is about the 25th?
The 25th, yes.
Okay, so that'll give people time to get, know about it and come and attend.
In terms of getting more information about our programs and our performances, people can go to our website at www.raineyinstitute.org, and Rainey is spelled R-A-I-N-E-Y, or they can call us here at 216-881-1766. And we'd like your viewers who may not have ever visited us before or may not have ever seen the talented kids that we have to come and stop and come to one of our performances.
That sounds beyond exciting. So, question. Tell us a little bit about your fall and now winter, spring programming. Is there such a thing as a special enrollment period, an open enrollment, whenever folks want to, sign up their kids? How does that work?
All right. During the school year, we focus primarily on our after-school program and our Arts and Me Saturday program. Our after-school program is filled up.
Wow.
We still have spaces left in our Saturday classes. And again, it's from children as young as 1 year of age up to 18 years of age. And we also have some open spots in our private lesson program and voice program as well. So if parents or children are interested in getting more information, they can go to the website or give us a call and get more information, or just stop by.
Yes, sir.
There's something that I really feel is important to touch on. You don't run this program for free. And I noticed that, for example, recently you had a couple of organizations donate guitars. So they're musical instruments. I looked at the board of directors and the people that are involved, the corporate leaders, real upstanding people in the community. These are people who, bring gravitas, credibility to the organization. And I think anyone like that would want to be able to help the organization in some way, if possible. Is there a way for people who are looking on who say, I really like what the Rainey Institute is doing, to be able to contribute towards that mission?
Absolutely. Some easy ways to contribute. It can be done on our website. Checks can be sent to us. The reality of our nonprofit world is for us to be able to do more programs for more kids, we have to raise the money first. So given that we want to serve more kids with more programs, we are always looking for additional donors to help us do what we do for our kids.
Excellent.
And speaking of board of directors, we believe in between his busy schedule that Jeff Grover, one of your board persons, is going to work with us here at Wake Up and Live with the Arts, and when he gets a chance, he will help, co-host. But catching him is like catching the wind with his, everybody's schedule is just, out of control, so to speak. But we are so honored that Jeff has expressed an interest when he's available to work with us on the show.
That's great.
So we're going to wrap shortly, but in the meantime, before we do that, and you may have a couple of other questions, but I want to get a sense of Brittany and Lee. What are some of your dreams, ambitions? What do you hope to see happen with El Sistema? And you, of course, as the head honcho of this fabulous organization, what are some of the things that you're looking at in terms of continuing to build on your community success? So what do you see with your El Sistema contributions?
Well, I would love for the program to keep growing and to keep providing excellent music education for all the students. I've had a few mothers already ask me, can they come here when they're in high school? And, their child is in second grade. So just providing the safe place to come and learn music and participate with other fellow musicians and play music all the way through until they go to college.
Okay, and it doesn't have to stop there.
It doesn't have to stop there, no.
And Lee, what about you?
One of the things that we see here repeatedly is kids come to Rainey and they try different things. Then they find one specific art form, and it can be music through El Sistema, or it can be one of the other art forms. And once they connect to one of the art forms and realize that they're pretty good at it, we see a transformation taking place within the child. Their self-esteem improves, their self-image improves. They learn that they can do just about anything they want to do as long as they're willing to work at it. So we see grades improving at school.
Sure.
We see kids staying on the high road rather than the other road. And we see kids growing up to become wonderful citizens of our community.
Not only that, but some, of course, go on to professional entertainment in their chosen interest areas. Now, we just met Titus, who is one of the young adults who has stayed with Rainey from childhood programming till now. Do you have any, I guess I want to say success stories of folks who have gone on? We may or may not recognize their names, but they have taken their Rainey background and transformed it into some of their dreams.
One of the most interesting things that happened to me was several years ago. The phone rang and I answered it, and the person said, "Hi, my name is Rufus Bonds Jr. I'm in town as part of the Color Purple presentation at Playhouse Square." And he said, "Actually, I'm one of the stars of the show." And then he said, "And I got my start at Rainey Institute 40 years ago."
Wow!
So it was very exciting, and we actually took a group of our teens down to see the Color Purple, and we met with Rufus after the show. And I remember one of our students asked Rufus the question. She said, I dream of becoming a Broadway star someday. Can I realistically expect to do that? And Rufus said, "Jamila, just like you, I got my start at Rainey Institute. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you're willing to work hard enough to make it happen."
Gotcha. Wow.
That's terrific. Well, listen, we're getting ready to wrap up here, but I did want to mention one last thing. There's a new program that you have involving video and digital work. Would you like to tell people about that?
I would. It actually begins this afternoon. It's a digital film class for teenagers We're doing actually, Obie Shelton, the former newscaster for Channel 3, who's done work with us over the years, is going to be teaching the class. And it's a way in which we can connect teens to digital video technology to help them express themselves and also learn skills that may lead to a future career for them.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, listen, I think we at the Wake Up and Lives Actor Studio are just absolutely thrilled with our association with you, and thrilled at the work that the Institute is doing. You know, it's so important for not only the kids now, but for the future of our community. So, Lee Lazar, we want to thank you so very much for being a part of the program, as well as Brittany Kubiak. Best wishes as you continue to do your work here and many, many, many years to come. So with that, we'll take a brief break, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Well, the Rainey Institute, located in the Huff neighborhood of Cleveland, is famous for changing lives through the arts. So when they heard of the huge success a young orchestra program was having in South America, they wanted that same opportunity for Cleveland kids. Russ Mitchell discovers how local grade school students are seeing the possible through classical music.
How long have you been playing the cello?
2 years.
2 years? Do you like it? What's the best part about coming here?
That all my friends come here and I get to play with them.
El Sistema, or the System in English, was founded in Venezuela. The program provides students the opportunity to learn music and play in an orchestra. 3 years ago, the Rainey Institute was determined to bring it to Cleveland, but needed funding.
One of our first stops was at the Cleveland Foundation.
We're always looking for great ideas for youth, and particularly a proposal that can get at multiple things. Teamwork, self-discipline, setting long-term goals, to take pages of prose and see children playing musical instruments really is about seeing the possible.
And the students are dedicated, coming after school for 90 minutes of practice 5 days a week.
We see our kids doing very well in school. We see our kids learning how to focus. What they see is by hard work, by determination, by practice, that they can produce beautiful music.
Very nice, very nice. Where do you get the confidence to play so well, to learn this instrument?
The confidence I get it from is whenever I go to service hall and I watch the Cleveland Orchestra play, I can see how they do it so I can do it too.
Almost all of the kids in the program have never touched an instrument before.
Keeping it on your knee like this, bow hand closes the case.
We first teach kids how a string instrument is made and how a string instrument needs to be treated. So the kids truly do respect the instruments, but they also respect themselves a great deal.
Let's say you wanted to teach me the cello. What's the first thing you would tell me to do?
You always unpack on the floor.
That's the most important thing?
Yep.
Okay. Can I get a high five? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
The program started for 30 kids playing violin and has grown to 60 kids and a full orchestra. They've performed 6 times at 7.
And we're back. Thank you for staying with us on Wake Up and Live with the Arts. We're pleased to have with us now a very special guest, someone who has come from a long way in order to be with us and is making a wonderful contribution to the Rainey Institute. I'm James McGilbray. Sue Johnson is still with us, as is Lee Lazar, who is the director of the Rainey Institute. And the young lady to my left is Meng-Hsuan Wu. And she is, and I hope I pronounced that okay. And she is originally from Taiwan. She's here as a special guest of the Cleveland Foundation and part of what's called the Creative Fusion Project. My understanding is that you are a visual artist, and rather than try and define that myself, tell me please, what exactly is a visual artist from your point of view?
I started with painting, and then the process that I'm learning art, I start to experience sculpture after painting that's more three-dimensional. So it's based on space, based on three dimension. And later on, I have chance to get in touch with different media as like video, installation. And recent year, I started to learning and practice on performance art as action, as happening, as audience involved or community involved. So for me, visual art might have a lot of connection with our vision, but I would say at this point of time, for me, visual art is expanded to rather than just the sense of, like the vision.
Yes.
For me, I'm more interested in exploring the sense of other sense. Yeah,
so
including like sense of touching, sense of sound, sense of smell.
So then there's an interactive
Yes.
aspect to what you do.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, your background, we wanted to know a little bit more about that. You originally, you got your Bachelor of Arts from in Taipei, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
And then went on to New York and got your Master's in Fine Arts.
Yes.
I noticed that you've won awards internationally, and you've traveled a lot, Germany and different places. Tell us a little bit about what your experience has been as you've traveled and as you've applied that wonderful education.
Okay. So the intention of me traveling that much started from my big interest about people. Well, it started the interest about who am I, who I am, and then to explore this question, expanded as we grow up. I start to have my curiosity about people, and then I had this experience of studying abroad. So I got to have chance to know different cultures. So the curiosity expanded to different cultures,
Yes.
and then places. So whenever I go to different places, I always question myself. Who I am at this point and who they are. And the best way to explore people and their culture is to go their place.
Well, speaking of going there, how did you end up coming to Cleveland?
Okay. So founded and granted by Cleveland Foundation, and they have this artist residency program called Creative Fusion. So I just, because I'm always seeking opportunity to go to different places, using art creation as a media to fit into the place, to explore the place and the culture of people. So I just oftenly seeking for those opportunities, and I saw this online,
Yes.
so I just apply.
Well, and what kinds of things are you now doing, if I may ask, with the institution? And I want to also speak with Lee here in just a moment in terms of how he sees you as a bigger part of this entire program for this fall. But tell us, please, what it is that you do with the kids here and the kind of work you're involved in directly with them.
Okay. So I'm teaching kids from mixed age, 5 to 12, during the week after school time, visual art class. So this including some of the printmaking as a media and also drawing.
Yes.
Later on, I plan to have some class about paper making and maybe paper sculpture.
It's interesting, Lee, that you mentioned paper making because and of course we're kind of dating with this being a particular day. On today's date, when we're taping the show, the Diane Rehm show, an entire segment was based on paper making. And they were talking about how paper was invented in China. In fact, it's one of 4 major things that the Chinese people, and I understand the difference between Taiwan and mainland China, but that the Chinese people are very, very proud of. And you must be very proud to have Meng here at the Rainey Institute as well.
We're thrilled to have Meng here. As you've seen in the conversation for the last 5 minutes, Meng is a wonderfully engaging, friendly, wonderful person to have with us. When some of the things that we hope our kids learn from their connection to Meng is a little bit about Taiwan and China, a little bit more about Asia, life in Asia, life in countries in Asia, as well as recognizing that there's a connection in every country around the world through the arts. So just as art is important here in Cleveland, Ohio, art is important in Taipei, Taiwan.
That's right.
And we're all part of the same arts-connected world.
Now, how long is she going to be working with the Institute?
Meng is here for 3 months.
Okay.
So she arrived at the beginning of September. She'll be here through Thanksgiving. And then, sadly, our connection will become an internet-based connection rather than an in-person connection.
Well, what is your next stop after Cleveland? Because Thanksgiving, believe it or not, isn't terribly far away. What is your next part of your adventure in the arts from here?
From here, I think the residency here will be till November, and next stop will be January next year in New York area. Yeah, I will do a project there, and that's based on here. The project that I was also doing here, that's community involved, and I will also do that in New York area.
Now, in between Thanksgiving time, sort of, and the first of the year, will you go all the way back home to Taiwan, or will you stay in the States doing something?
It's interesting because this year I basically just go back and forth, Taiwan home and here.
Okay.
So my parents is actually coming
Okay.
in December. Yeah.
Oh, that should be fun.
It's a very good opportunity for them to come to visit me and also get to see Cleveland and also Rainey Institute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a two-parter. One, I know you applied through the Cleveland Foundation. How did you discover that she had applied? And then two, for the community, will, other than the children that you are teaching, will the community be able to come in and see her work anywhere? Are you having an exhibition or a gallery or anything?
In terms of the first question, of how did Meng and Rainey connect? When Rainey applied to the Cleveland Foundation to be part of the wonderful Creative Fusion program, we were given a list of about 50 approved international artists. So we looked at the list, and we were specifically looking for artists who had extensive experience dealing with kids, because we're all about kids. So Meng was one of the artists who had a lot of experience dealing with children. And then Meng and I had a Skype conversation, and I knew at the end of the first 5 minutes of the conversation that this was a perfect fit. And here we are today.
And here we are.
Well, and of course, you know, obviously you're going to miss her when she's gone, but being gone these days doesn't mean that you're not in contact, because there's the internet. You have a beautiful website with many examples of your work on it, and there's some beautiful things. I just have to mention this, and I'm going to read it verbatim because it was so beautiful. You said, I'm like a river, a container of myself and of all the surroundings. The flow makes me affect the passing places and reflect them. And so when it comes to reflecting them, obviously you can do that now through the website. people can see what you're doing and keep up with you from around the world, including the children here. Would you tell the viewers here what your website is and how, so that they can stay in touch with your work?
Okay. My website is based on a blog. So it's http Meng-Hsuan Wu, MENGHSUAN.blog.com.
Okay, and we'll put that on the screen. Well, listen, it's been just wonderful having you here, Meng. Your work is terrific, and I know you're going to make a big impact here with the children at the Rainey Institute. And Lee Lazar, it's again been such a pleasure, and knowing the kinds of things that you're doing that are going to affect these children well into the future. So we want to encourage the community to become familiar with this wonderful organization, the Rainey Institute, and contribute if you can. And meanwhile, we're going to wrap this segment, but we'll be back.
Hello, fish. I thought about what you would be like. Thank you for the kisses. Kiss on the toe. Your tails are moving like butterfly wings. I think you are butterflies of the water, butterflies of the river.
Oh my God, this is heaven right here. Heaven, 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 heaven. The river passing, time passing, me passing. The river passing, time passing, me passing, you passing. The treetops in the wind in the treetops. Bird song in the river, the wind in the river, the trees in the river. Light moving again, light moving again, light moving again. In a place like this, it's really much nicer to listen than to speak. But when I thought about coming here and volunteering for this project, what I really wanted to do is that I have an adoration for goldfish. So I'll say a few words about goldfish. That I don't know if other viewers or people have this experience, but when I was growing up on Long Island, not far from New York City, even though it was mostly a Jewish community, some of the churches had fairs and festivals, and you know, cotton candy, strawberry shortcake, candy apples, all that stuff to rot out your teeth and send you to the dentist. But they, of course, they had a lot of carnival games, and I can't even remember now what the game was. Maybe it was throwing a ping pong ball into a goldfish bowl, and if you threw it in, you would get to take home a goldfish in a plastic baggie. And I have to say, I can hardly, except for the ponies, I can hardly remember any other game. They all paled in comparison